Hey guys, so I'm back with my third match of the first week of this last season of Grand Arena. I did not have a ton of time to scout this opponent, so you will see what ends up happening. Just with cam streams going on, it was way too hectic. So let's go have a look, see how it rolls out, and maybe I can get a second win this week. Alright guys, so my opponent this week is Polter. He is from really awesome Wampa Raiders and has a similar lifetime legacy banner count to me. It's just over 700,000. 8.4, almost 8.5 million GP though. So he is a little bit bigger than me because I'm still just under 8. But he has the exact same Galactic Legends. So we're matched up in terms of teams pretty similarly, just based off what you need to chase those 5. So yeah, it was pretty straightforward. Like I said, I did not have a lot of time to scout. And by that, I mean, I saw in the last round that he placed Rey on defense and that was it. So I actually let my defense roll. Just like I said, I didn't have time. So Kenobi and Kylo stayed up top and then I left Rey in the bottom with my C and my gas and my Maul. So like I said, he places Rey on defense. He's obviously already attacked me here. And he did 2-shot my Maul in the front, cleared out my back, and then he attempted my Kenobi. I don't know if he actually attempted it or just threw a team at it to make it trigger on the history. Totally fine if that was the case, in my opinion. Left my ships the exact same. Like I said, my whole defense just rolled over, just because I didn't have a ton of time to go in depth, unfortunately. So in his top, he set Ami, Qui-Gon, Geos, my arch nemesis Grievous, and then he set a Jango lead bounty hunter team with Zam, and she's got her Omicron as well. So I was like, okay, this is kind of sketch, but it's fine. Just based off what I had said on defense. And then in the bottom, he's got Night Sisters, Mon Mothma, just leftover Phasma, which don't blame him, I do the same thing, and Rey. So I wasn't too sure what to do with Rey, only because I normally do try to gas her, and that was not an option. I toyed with the idea of Palpatine on her with Mara, and then I figured I would just let it stew, and I knew right away that I was going to probably want to try Wampa on Mon Mothma again. And to be honest, I couldn't remember what Hoth Rebel Scout did for the Mon Mothma team, so I wanted to double check that he wasn't going to give them some kind of potency or anything like that. But yeah, so I figured that would be my best case. And then I realized once I clicked on Rey, I wanted to see what her modding was. Pretty straightforward. He's got her modded. It looks like for speed, because her health is pretty low, but he's got a lot of offense on her. She's over 10k offense. So I knew she was probably going to hit pretty hard. And that was when I decided I was going to use Luke. I did hope that I could save him because I was a little worried that there would be a Galactic Legend in the back zone, just because he didn't clear all 4 of mine. And then I realized after this that he had set OG Finn and OG Poe with her. I, on quick glance, just assumed it was the bros, and it's not. So, yeah, I figured this would still work. I had double checked my counter for if it was the bros, but I figured this was still going to work. And again, I wanted to save my Jedi because I really wanted to be able to have a second Jedi team as well as a Qui-Gon team. So I was trying really hard to make something work that would counter Rey, that wouldn't be too cheap, and too weak, so to speak. So I ended up going with this. I really, really did not want to use Jedi Knight Revan here, to be honest with you, so I chose not to. Alright, so I always like to open with his AoE, just to kind of get ability block on everybody, and then I just started spamming his ult, or his leadership ability, to get his ult as quickly as possible. I do like to stun just to kind of keep things going moderately okay. And then increase Ray's cooldowns. And then again, I just go back to the ultimate. And that was when I realized I was like, oh, I might be accidentally triggering a whirlwind, which is not what I wanted to do. But I really liked the idea of bringing Hoda here so that I could have foresight up on everyone just in case I accidentally triggered her. Well, if she went into her ultimate, to be honest, or if I accidentally did trigger a whirlwind, I really want to try to keep foresight up on as many people as possible, just because I didn't take Jolie, so I knew I wasn't going to have an option to revive anybody. Cool. So then I just kind of went back to trying to get through to everyone and getting them into damage immunity. Especially Ray. I really wanted to get her out of there ASAP because I knew she would be the one that was going to do the damage to me and screw me over. There's the whirlwind. Yeah, having that foresight from Hoda was a really great idea, in my opinion. I will say having 4 tanks with Ray is super annoying. I think this is the first time that I've fought a Ray with 4 tanks. It's usually the bros or BB-8s with her or R2 or like something else. And there goes Hoda. Or Yoda, sorry, not Hoda. Poor little guy. But once Ray was gone, I felt a lot more comfortable. So not the best banners because we lost Yoda. But I really just wanted to get through in one shot. That was all I really cared about, to be honest. And so unfortunately, I did have to use my only Galactic Legend right away. But I think it was a fair trade-off. Especially because I've never practiced the Palp Mirror counter, and I did not think that would be a wise decision to practice it now. So, like I said earlier, I knew I wanted to use Wampa here again. I know I could have used him on Grievous, but then I wasn't too sure what I could do against Mon Mothma, just with what I had on offense in terms of how my teams were laid out. So I figured this was the safest option. So this one felt, it felt pretty straightforward. Kara is super annoying here because of that potency up. I knew this was going to be a pain to just get through her because she was just going to keep coming back. And it did feel a little bit sketchy, not gonna lie. I think this Omicron is a ton of fun. I actually really like it, and I like being able to have an easy answer to teams. And also this is really great for stretching my teams in general because I don't have a lot of full squads built because there are so many holes in teams that I need to fix still. So it's a great solution for me right now. It just makes me so uncomfortable. Like I'm just anytime they go into his health, and I know it's because his modding isn't done yet. He is still a little bit squishy on my account. Just makes me so uncomfortable that like here maybe they're gonna get away and do something awful and I'm gonna lose. In which case, like, I was really hoping if they did kill him, I mean, I didn't want them to kill him, but if they happened to, I was like, please don't bring back Kara before he dies. Like, just let someone stay dead so at least I'm not starting from scratch. But man, his damage ramps so quick afterwards that I don't know why I feel comfortable every time, but I do. All right, so then we had Night Sisters and leftover First Order. And I was, again, super trying to make sure I stretched out my teams as much as possible here. And Night Sisters, I don't want to say they scare me per se, but like they were fairly decently relic. Like they're all high levels. They have decent speed, so I wasn't too sure what the safest option would be. And again, I didn't really know for sure what he would set in the back because I was paranoid about a Galactic Legend being back there. And I didn't want to overspend up front because of that. But to be honest, I also knew that if he was stuck on my Kenobi, that I didn't necessarily need to full clear. I just needed to clear some zones. So I figured, I was like, I'm going to try Qui-Gon here. I've never done Qui-Gon against a Night Sisters squad that has this many relics because the idea of Plague just really scares me. And yeah, so I figured I would try it. And I wasn't too sure what to expect. I realized very quickly on that it wasn't going to be very comfortable, just because of the stun opportunity that can happen. And I didn't like the idea of Anakin being stunned during the moment that he would get his bonus turn if Qui-Gon had died. So it wasn't the most comfortable experience. And he's stunned. So right away I was like, oh, this is not comfortable. I don't enjoy doing this. But again, I didn't want to burn my go-to here, honestly, with such a high relic level. I probably would have just used Troopers. But I didn't want to use them just in case I needed them for something in the back or up top or whatever because of my offensive selection for teams. And this is just so... I mean, I know they can't die because Qui-Gon's still alive, but it's such an uncomfortable feeling, and Qui-Gon is so close to death. And there he goes. So thankfully, Anakin wasn't stunned, and I could just one-shot them. I think if he was stunned, it would have been a lot more annoying and irritating. So I'm really happy that he wasn't. And then this Phasma team, I know you can throw pretty much anything at it. Like Kylo's not on there. They don't have First Order Stormtrooper. Or sorry, they do. But I knew without Kylo being there was no Red Trooper, sorry. The Sith Trooper. So I wasn't too concerned about how much damage possibilities there were in terms of my team. So I was kind of hoping I could be super cheap here. I took my Gear 12 Triumvirate, and then I took Thrawn with them as well. So my Thrawn is relic because you need him for C. So he is probably the most expensive character that I'm using here. And then Gear 10 Short Trooper, because I just wanted a pre-taunt. I just needed someone that was going to be taunting at the start to kind of take the heat off of the Triumvirate. And I was trying to be super cheap. So hopefully it wasn't going to backfire. So I chose to fracture Phasma because I didn't want her giving the team advantage again. And then I was hoping that I would be able to get to Fu very quickly, First Order Officer. And I wanted to isolate him just so that he couldn't, hand turn meter to anybody or anything like that. And then I was hoping that I would be able to get Executioner out of the way once Stormtrooper was. Just because Executioner, I think, here is probably the heaviest hitter. I hated that he had like half health, but I figured I would just kill him anyway. And then I could go straight for Executioner. So I think, to be honest with you, like, considering my gear levels and the fact that they're all relicked, I feel like this was a decent idea. I knew my Triumvirate wasn't going to survive against Mon Mothma, which is why I chose to use Wampa there. So I feel like this actually worked really well, all things considered. I mean, it felt like it was a very cheap solution to a problem that I wasn't sure how to work my way around without going into overkill again. And again, like I mentioned, I think Thrawn here was probably the most expensive choice that I made. I think maybe I could have done it without him. I don't know who I would have taken, but maybe it would have worked. He definitely was really great to have for control. Okay, so in the back, we've got Iden with her Omicron, Dash with an Omicron, and then Maul. So this kind of sucks. But I was very happy that there wasn't a Galactic Legend in the back. So I was just kind of trying to figure out what my best option here was. Like, what would be the best case scenario and how to kind of divvy up my teams, especially with Grievous and Bounty Hunters and Qui-Gon, because all three of those are easy CLS options for me. And obviously I can only use CLS once. So I figured the best case honestly would be to do it against Jango. I just wanted to get Sam out of there. So she's 289 speed, so she's not super slow. She's going to be handing a ton of speed over to them. And I knew also with Jango lead, it could be a little bit dicey if he decided to burn them. I wouldn't be getting any, turn meter gain going or anything. But I honestly didn't really see another option. I figured at this point that I would either have to try my leftover Jedi on Grievous and then come up with a plan for Qui-Gon. So I thought this was just going to be the best plan with what I had left and what I still also needed to get through. So I chose to swap stances because I wanted to ignore Boss's taunt, and then he just ended up dying anyway. But yeah, this worked pretty cleanly. This usually is my go-to for Zam, just to kind of get her out of the way. I think it's the easiest option. It's decent banners. We only lost 2, which I will take. And then I needed to decide on the rest of the teams here without, screwing myself over, and also keeping an eye on how many banners I still needed. So, like I said, I figured I would try my Jedi here. So he's 191 speed and 140,000 health, so he's decent. He's just my arch nemesis, and even Jedi sometimes fail me on Grievous. So I was a little worried, especially because I didn't have very many options left Jedi-wise. I knew this was going to be dicey. And then I just started, kind of second guessing myself, wondering if I should bounty hunter it, wondering if troopers could do something. Didn't totally love the idea of it. And here is where I started changing my plans around a little bit. I was thinking about Vadering one of these squads, and I wasn't too sure which one I could do, if I wanted to do it on the bugs or how I was going to do this. I was originally thinking maybe I would Jedi either Grievous or Qui-Gon, and I just kept going back and forth because of what I needed to get through still and what I had left, and also what I wanted to use in the back, because I knew I couldn't just clear this zone. I needed to also clear either back or ships to get ahead, and ships are also a weak spot. So here's where I second guessed it. I figured troopers would come into play here, so I changed my mind. I was going to use Vader and Watt, and I ended up deciding to try to use my troopers, which I don't think I regret this decision, to be honest with you. I think it probably was an overkill decision, but it definitely worked. I mean, I also was a little concerned because of Droideka. I didn't realize Droideka was in there until I went in to select the screen, or to select the team, just because I had quickly glanced at it, to be honest with you. And clearly, absolute overkill. Like, they didn't even get a turn. But 65 banners, which I will take. And then, again, because I was originally going to use Vader and Watt and Palpatine there to do Geos. I now wanted to try them somewhere else, and I ended up thinking that maybe going against, Grievous would be a good idea. And I just really wanted a 5th member. I didn't, just for the speed on Vader, I didn't really, have a preference, so to speak, on who it was. And then also just double checking the leadership ability between Palpatine and Vader to see who I wanted to have be my leader. I feel like every time I use them together, I always double check their leadership abilities and decide on what one would be the best case. And I did decide to go with Vader just for the extra damage. I thought it would be a good idea. Good is used very loosely there. So my thought here was to give the weapons tech to Vader so that he could get the turn meter. I wanted him taking as many turns as possible. And I was hoping that I would just be able to get dots out there and that the team would kind of just die on its own. I wanted to throw out as many ability blocks as possible, just because, especially on Grievous, I really did not want him AoEing and wiping out my entire team. I realized pretty quick that the tech on Palpatine probably should have gone to Royal Guard just so that he would have taunted instead. And Palpatine's dead. So this got really dicey really quickly. I was hoping, though, that Vader would just kind of keep going and, keep applying dots, keep throwing ability block down. And, I mean, Grievous he was in the yellow, so I was feeling kind of okay. Like, the dots were sticking, and I was like, this is not going to be the best banners. Everything's going to be fine. And then everything was not fine. So I have a lone Grievous to clean up because he's still the worst. I chose to just kind of ignore him. I was like, I'm not going to deal with him right now. And I will go figure out what I want to do on Qui-Gon. So I want to check Cam's speed, and he's only 191. And I will say that since Mace's rework, putting Mace with Qui-Gon on defense is super annoying, just because of how his kit works now with his taunt that isn't really a taunt, but it's kind of a taunt. So yeah, I was hoping that bounty hunters would just outspeed them and kind of make everyone super weak. I could stun. My plan was to stun Anakin, kill Qui-Gon, have Anakin miss his bonus turn because he's stunned, and then kind of go from there. And in my head, the plan made sense. So I just, again, wanted everyone to, get low on health so that once Qui-Gon was dead, I could just wipe out the rest of the team, hopefully. Especially if I could get Anakin stunned. And then, they just kept hitting me. And Mace's taunt, that isn't really a taunt, but it's kind of a taunt, is unbelievably annoying. It just gets in the way all the time of what you're trying to do. So this went sideways fairly quickly, as you can see. And then, I really just wanted to kill Qui-Gon. And I knew he had his foresight up, but I was hoping maybe, splash damage would do something here. But yeah, so that didn't work. Super annoyed and chose to ignore it again. And I figured I would at least try and go clean up this lone Grievous and then come back to Qui-Gon and see what I could do to kind of at least get through this zone and get through to ships. So since this was just Grievous on his own, and I know my Night Sisters aren't that strong, I was like, they have to be able to take this. Like, realistically, he's going to go for Zombie right away because Zombie will be taunting. And, I should be able to not have an issue here. Should being the operative word, of course. All right, so Grievous is done, thankfully. And I think we still have a decent amount of teams left. Obviously, this Qui-Gon now is preloaded, so I was super not loving that. So this was an expensive decision for me. I needed a tank, or another tank, obviously, because Old Ben's there. I just wanted another person. And the reason why I chose this was because this was basically going to be a sacrificial lamb team, and I just wanted to get Qui-Gon out to get rid of his leadership ability, and then go in and clean up if I had to, if I couldn't finish the team off. So yeah, like I said, I just wanted to go straight for Qui-Gon. Did not care if Anakin was stunned or not. I just wanted Qui-Gon dead. Absolutely just wanted him out of the way so that I could make my way through the rest of the team. So now that he is gone, he doesn't have his leadership ability in effect anymore. Omicron is out of the way. I figured this would be a lot easier to clean up. And, kill it. I probably should have just used Jedi Knight Revenant in the first place. And then I kind of thought maybe Bugs could do this. Maybe. I mean, there's no leadership ability. I didn't really see obviously the most dangerous thing here is Anakin's AoE, in my opinion. Mace taunting again is an absolute pain. And then Zaris being there is super annoying, which I realized once my spy couldn't, he just kept healing every time I hit Anakin. I was like, this is going to be an absolute pain to chew through. So obviously I have to go for Cam since he's taunting. But I was okay with this since I could chew through him a little bit quicker, and then at least he would be dead. So my goal at this point, once I realized that Zeros would be a pain in my ass, I just needed to get rid of her. And again, Mace taunting, doing a stupid little fake taunt thing, was getting in my way. Of course, she heals them. But I really just wanted to get her out of the way, if possible. And it was looking dicier and dicier. And then I was hoping maybe I could just kill Mace and like Mace or Anakin, either one. Mace just kept doing his little fake taunt thing, so I figured maybe that would be the easier option out of the two of them. Which didn't really matter, to be honest with you. Because Anakin's just going to keep AoEing and ruining everybody's day. I honestly, at this point, was thinking maybe I will be able to just slowly chew through Mace and things will be fine. Maybe. And then they weren't. So yeah. Now we just have Anakin and Mace left. This is just an absolute joke that I'm having to throw so many teams here. But again, I just wanted to get to ships and then I would figure out what I wanted to do afterwards. I really did not want to use, obviously did not want to use Grievous here. Didn't think Kylo would be able to do anything. Wasn't too sure if my leftover bounty hunters could do anything. And then I thought maybe my leftover resistance can. Like I have Finn, he can lead them. And like they do hit decently hard. Stick Ray hits pretty hard. They're gonna be exposed. They're gonna be burning. BB-8 can kind of give them back some of that protection and turn meter. Turn meter for him in R2, and like maybe this can work. So I just wanted to stun Anakin. I really did not want him AoEing my team like that. And this went considerably smoother. I honestly don't know if this would have worked the first time, only because of Zeros. I think I could have been able to kill her probably right away, and then maybe it would have worked out fine. But honestly, all I cared about was getting through without spending a huge team, and I wouldn't have used some of these characters anyway. They would have just been on the bench. All right, so we finally have made it to fleets, and there's no Executor on defense. So we've got Thrawn, which I figured probably had the TIE Interceptor as the first reinforcement coming out. Negotiator, my also arch nemesis of fleets, and then a Raddus fleet. So I was kind of thinking that maybe I would mirror Negotiator again, probably fail at it. I figured Malevolence against Thrawn would be good. I knew if it had an Interceptor, I didn't want to take Negotiator there. And then I kind of was thinking maybe I could use my Rebels on Raddus. So yeah, I figured that would be my best bet to at least get 2 down, and I figured why not bite the bullet and just start with Negotiator, see what happens. Maybe I will pleasantly surprise myself. So I wasn't too sure what exact starting lineup I wanted. This is usually my go-to starting lineup, and then I thought maybe I should just like exactly mirror it. Would that be the better option? So that's what I chose to do. I honestly don't know if this was the better decision or not. I knew this was going to be a toss-up, so I figured I would just try it and then have him go straight for Anakin, of course. My poor Anakin. So normally I would AoE here to start, but because Anakin was so low, I needed that special ability to make sure he wasn't going to die too early. I at least wanted to do some damage here if Anakin was going to eat it. All right, so I chose to bring out Plo first, just get all those debuffs off everyone, give them all some turn meter. Wanted to get through somebody as quickly as possible. I was hoping I could just proc Anakin down and get rid of his little Valor buff nonsense, and hopefully be able to kill him, which of course I just put back on. And I ended up choosing to basic. Again, I was just trying to get Anakin's health down if possible. Just wanted to kill somebody. Just wanted somebody, and there goes my Anakin, of course. So, chose to use the AoE. Was really hoping I could just chew through somebody. So there were no buffs, obviously, on anyone that I could target, which is why I ended up bringing in 5s. I figured that would be a better option here, so I wasn't wasting Ahsoka's reinforcement, and then I could just do his big hit and at least get rid of someone. And of course, their 5s is now taunting, so I can't do any of the things that I would like to do. Yeah, so this went down pretty quickly afterwards. So 2 banners. A whopping 2 banners. Joy. Yeah, so I figured I would leave that alone, and then I would go and try this Thrawn fleet. Again, I wanted to use Malevolence on it, and I had assumed that Interceptor was going to be the first reinforcement. This is the lineup that I like to do when it's not the Executor counter. Have the droids and then Sunfac out there first. And then I really just wanted I was trying to decide if I wanted to take another ship or not. If it would be overkill, if there was anything that could realistically come with. This is where I'm seeing like the struggle in terms of having 3 fleet on defense and 3 that you need to have on offense, and then just building out the fleet squadrons themselves. So obviously I chose not to do that. I figured that with using like the special abilities from Malevolence, I'd be bringing out some more droids anyway. So hopefully they would kind of help me out in terms of having, like, this sounds bad, but in terms of having like bodies to target, they could just at least hit them. And my ships could hang around a little bit longer. And obviously there's the TIE Interceptor that I figured was going to come out. I wanted to get past this taunt as quickly as possible. And this worked out beautifully that it chose to target the Interceptor and I could just kill it. And then it felt like it went decently smooth from there. I mean, the the days here on my ships is really hurting me. I really wanted those assists to kind of chew through them a little bit quicker, but I still think it worked out fairly well. I think this was the right decision to make. And 70 banners, so I was pretty happy with that. And again, I figured Rebels against Raddus would probably be my best decision, and then I was going to see how my banners would fare out after the fact. Yeah, so I just kind of figured I would go with Rebels. I chose to do the, double tank basically at the start. I don't know if this was the right decision. Rebels is definitely a fleet. I feel like I've quote unquote forgotten how to play it since they were the meta, and then never really put the effort into the other Rebel fleets that make it really strong, which is definitely a weak point in my roster that I need to fix. But I think this was the right call. I figured I would just go straight for the Resistance Bomber, Star Fortress, whatever you want to call it. We all know it's the bomber. Get it out of the way, and then I would kind of figure out what to do from there. It seemed like it was working. Yeah, so then I thought maybe I would just go straight for Falcon. And then, of course, the Resistance X-Wing comes in, which is just lovely. Everyone gets foresight on this fleet, which is just a pain in the ass to work through. So the reason why I brought this Phoenix ship in, I always get them confused, whether it's Ghost or Phantom. I wanted to have the cooldown on the reinforcement reduced. There goes my bigs. I wanted to be able to call another reinforcement right away. I wanted as many fleets out there as possible so that I could just chew through them quickly, because my fear was that Raddus was going to get her ultimate off and just blow up Home 1. And I really just wanted to get through it before that happened. Really just wanted to one-shot this team. And obviously banners are going to be absolutely disastrous here because my ships are dying all over the place. So Falcon is dead. And yeah, the AoE from Home 1 is just really nice. And then success. Okay, so one shot, 65, not the best, but it was one shot. Again, my fear was not being able to get through the fleet before she got her ultimate ability off. And then I thought, for fun, not that I thought this would carry any weight whatsoever. I was like, maybe we can put some kind of fleet together that survives long enough that I can get Thrawn's ultimate off and just instantly defeat someone. And this is the downside about having TIE Interceptor on defense. I think moving forward, I either will make a really strong Empire fleet on defense with it or keep it for offense. Totally not sure yet. But I figured this would leave me like a half-assed First Order team, and maybe I could just have something be killed. Maybe. I don't know. I knew based off the banners, I still needed, I think, 8 points just to tie. So I really, really wanted to just maybe be able to chew through it. Because based off what was in the bottom back zone, my only options left for squads were realistically a Grievous Nute team. And I wasn't too sure how it would go. And I also wasn't too sure if I had to two-shot anything, what I could realistically use to clean it up. So this wasn't going that well. I mean, they were hanging on. Wasn't too sure who I wanted to bring in as my first reinforcement. kind of just looked at everyone, ended up deciding on Gauntlet just to get the protection back. And I figured that would maybe help me again survive until the ultimate so that I could just kill a ship. And my Gauntlet is super weak, like ridiculously weak. Really need to work on him. But I just wanted him for his reinforcement. So clearly not going really to plan here, like at all. But I also was not that surprised, all things considered. And I mean, the Battlebee ship was so close to being dead, so that's a little infuriating, but it's fine. So yeah, I still needed, like I said, 8 banners to tie, because it's 1076 to 1084. And I really only have Grievous Nute left. And out of these teams, I have not tried it on any of them. I haven't faced a Dash-led Omicron Scoundrel team before. I knew it was going to be a pain. The Maul team, I did not, like 100% did not want to take Grievous against. So I figured Iden was going to be my best case scenario. And then, like, maybe if I had to throw stuff at it after the fact, I could. But I had to get one squad down. Like, there's no choice here. I absolutely have to get at least one squad down. And again, I was just double checking to see what I had left in case I did have to go in and two-shot this. Because yeah, there is no other option here except to clear this team. And Nute has already died once. So I wanted to get target lock out as quickly as possible. And then I figured I could spread, like maybe spreading extortion would help. I wanted to get rid of Death Trooper. I just wanted to get rid of somebody, because obviously that is going to make a potential cleanup significantly easier. Quickly realized in this that I should absolutely not be using AoEs unless they had buffs, which is why I started basicing with B2. B1, I still wanted to use his because I really wanted to be healing somebody. So that was kind of the sacrifice that I made. But having them all counter was a pain. So here, once they get all their buffs back from Iden, this was when I figured having B2s dispel would be helpful, which is why I chose to do that. I did choose to AoE with Grievous just to get the target lock back out there. But other than that, I didn't want to. I didn't want them countering. And I was just really hoping that I could chew through somebody before they chewed through me. And then I wanted to get rid of the taunt on Stormtrooper, which is why I did the AoE again. I wanted Death Trooper gone only because I didn't want him to death mark anybody. So now that he's out of the way, I figured I could focus on whoever was open, and B1's gone. So getting Stormtrooper down was my next decision. I wanted to extort Shore Trooper since he was going to take a turn next, and there goes B2. This is super dicey, but I figured it would be okay to clean up since I've got so many of them gone. So now it's just down to Iden, and it's Grievous and Nute with Iden. This is gonna go, I guess, moderately well. I don't know. So obviously she revives. And then dead. Terrible banners. Absolutely terrible. 52. But it's gone. So that's where I chose to call it. I knew I had absolutely nothing left for the back 2 squads that were left, but I was ahead. So as long as he genuinely was stuck, I figured I was safe. So here it is. Like I said, I had kind of scraped the bottom of the barrel. So I was done, and my opponent evidently was stuck and was done on my Kenobi. So I did sneak out my second win this week. So it's 2-1 for the first week. I'm going to take everything that I've learned. I really appreciate everyone's feedback because it's awesome to get another set of eyes to kind of point out the mistakes you're making. This is the biggest thing that I've noticed because I do this with Cam all the time. So it's been really refreshing to have someone else and a lot of other people do it to my Grand Arena. And it's definitely let me see a lot of mistakes I've been making. So hopefully I can do even better next week. But we will see. Thanks so much for watching, guys.